welcome to Talkin Business. I'm Joe Catrambone, CEO of the Stewart Martin County Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure today to have one of our trustee members, Jen Lozada with Tradewind Aviation, visiting us this morning. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming up here. And did you come from Lauderdale this morning?
I did. Easy
That's
drive.
quite a drive.
Yeah, worth it.
Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
Your title really interests me. I've never seen this title, and I know you're going to talk about it. But VP of Revenue Growth. What does that mean?
So I joined the Tradewind team almost 2.5, 3 years ago, as we were opening up the Southeast base down here. So Tradewind we've been around for 25 years, doing operations up in the Northeast. So, we were big market in New York, out to Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, been down in the Caribbean for over 20 years. So we have a very large base down in San Juan, and we service some of the other islands. So St. Bart's, Anguilla, Tortola, Virgin Gorda. But 3 years ago, Tradewind really saw an opportunity to expand in the Southeast market. There's not really a premium carrier for what we do in that regional space. So you think hour flight time, so intra-Florida, out to the Bahamas, whatnot. So a really good opportunity to look at, what we do well, and really bring a great market, a great product to the market. So I joined the Tradewind team, obviously as a South Floridian expert, to really look at, how do we grow this market? How do we, position our brand in a way where it becomes the household name that it is in the Northeast, start doing that down here. And it's been really fun. So it's essentially that, right? What are we doing? How are we maximizing our assets now? How are we ensuring we're getting the highest yield for what we own, right? Our owned assets, and ensuring we're bringing a quality product to the market.
So you have a presence in the Northeast now?
We've had a presence in the Northeast, yes, for 25 years.
Wow. And Connecticut, basically, mostly? Is that where it is?
So our headquarters is up in Connecticut, in Oxford, Connecticut. But we have maintenance. We have a maintenance base there where we do a lot of our heavy maintenance on the aircraft. We also have a maintenance base in Westchester, so White Plains Airport, and we have footprint in Teterboro. We also have lounge spaces out in Nantucket, so we do a lot of work.
I used to live close to Teterboro.
Yeah, yep. So we do. So that was really our bread and butter, right? It was, when our founders, the Zipkins, Eric Zipkin, David Zipkin, when they started the business, it was really to fill a void, right? So folks wanted to get from New York out to Nantucket, right, in the summer
It was like
months.
a puddle jumper.
It was So we started on those aircraft, and it was pulling folks together and saying, hey, I'm going to go this time, let's go on that time. Really seeing a big opportunity to grab that market and expanded over time. For 25 years, really being market leaders in the Northeast. But what would happen is we'd be so busy in the summer, and then in the winter we would be like, all right, everybody go have a winter break. So then that was where the opportunity came to, okay, let's get down to the Caribbean. Let's see if we can service some of these other markets down there. So it started off with bases in St. Croix, and now we're in San Juan. So we have a very large hangar at San Juan Airport. We have amazing partners with the commercial airlines, so you can, fly direct from Jersey to San Juan and connect with us to get to St. Bart's or some of the other locations that you want to fly to. And, that helped keep Tradewind a year-round business. So it would be in the Northeast in the summer and in the winter down in the Caribbean.
How did Stewart come into play?
So Stewart came into play because if you look at Florida, right, you look at Florida on a map, people from the Northeast forget how big Florida is, right? We're a pretty big state. It's kind of a pain to get from the bottom to the top, and from a connectivity standpoint, right, there's not a lot of options to fly, so you're always driving. And then if you're taking a larger aircraft, right, so if I'm thinking in the private aviation space, the private jet space, it's not an efficient use of that aircraft to fly, from Fort Lauderdale to Jacksonville or Fort Lauderdale to Tallahassee. Those jets aren't built for that. They're not made to do that. And your other options are pretty limited. So coming into this market, it was really thinking it from that standpoint. And Stewart, because it's central, right? It's central to the state.
Great location, yeah.
Fantastic location. We have a great relationship with the folks at APP Jet Center over at Witham Field. But it really became a great solution for Tradewind because one, space was available. Two, the connectivity and the location for how we fly makes a lot of sense. So we have a lot of flying, north of Stewart, from Stewart directly, and a lot of flying, in the Tri-County area south of us. So it's been a fantastic, right? I think we're 3 years into our lease at that location, and we've built up a fantastic group of pilots who live and work in Martin County. We have a great group of our maintenance team who live and work in Martin County, and of course our flight concierge, the lovely team that meets and greets our passengers right when they're flying with us.
So have you got scheduled flights?
We do. So we do both. So we have a scheduled service side of the business, and we also have private charter. Our scheduled service, we're flying 5 days a week to and from Stewart, multiple routes. So we hit the Bahamian Islands. So we're going to Marsh Harbor, so in the Abacos, north of Eleuthera. So that really gets you to that Harbor Island location, and then out to Nassau. And
Where?
Nassau to Nassau.
Oh, Nassau. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's the big stop.
Right. So Nassau was new this past year. We launched in December. And the thinking behind Nassau is there's no connectivity out to Nassau north of Fort Lauderdale. Right? So if you have anyone in Palm Beach County, Martin County, north of us, west, right? They're either driving to Orlando or they're driving to Fort Lauderdale or MIA. So right there, you're adding 2 hours onto the stop.
Yeah.
You're still paying a premium to get out there. So for us, it's a great option for our clients, right, to fly out there. And then I think also for the folks in Nassau who are trying to get north within Florida, right, the northern part of South Florida, I would say, it's a great opportunity for them. And what we're seeing with these routes is it's very different than how all of our other regions behave, despite those being very mature markets for us, is we Floridians travel all day, every day. We're not really a Friday to Sunday
Right.
travel crowd. If it's Wednesday, the weather's good, we're hitting the Bahamas. If it's Tuesday, whatever day of the week it is, right, we're excited to go. And we're seeing a lot of that. So, and what we use that in terms of load factor, right? So our loads are in that 70%, 80%, which for an 8-seat aircraft is a beautiful thing.
So primarily, but would you say most of your business is charters?
Right now, overall, our business is about 50-50.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, our business is 50-50.
I'd like to throw this out to you to investigate, if you would. It's frustrating for me. I travel to Tallahassee quite a bit during the legislative session.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible that y'all could put on, just during the session, that puts on a flight that goes from Stewart to Tallahassee?
And it's so funny you mention it because because we work with obviously the Martin County Chamber that we've been working with for almost 3 years now, and since we launched some flights out of Fort Lauderdale recently this past season, so a couple of flights a day, they have the same complaint, right? The chamber folks are like, it is not easy. It's not easy. It's almost impossible, right? Sometimes you have to connect to Atlanta, and it's
That's the last flight I
That's-
took.
yeah.
I went to Atlanta.
to come back down.
It was and
It's a 10-hour day.
it was 8 hours. It was
Right.
over 8 hours.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So
It's
it's
like
not
a drive.
Exactly. So it's not the first time we've heard this, right? And I think we have a new team member who joined us, a Southeast Business Development team member, and he's working closely with the Martin County Chamber, Stewart Chamber crew, and also the Fort Lauderdale Chamber to really understand, okay, what does that session look like? What is that timing, that frequency? How do we fit it into the schedule? Because it's a consistent pain point,
Yeah.
getting folks up. So it's not a no, right? It's just like sometimes I just need more planes.
How many planes do you have?
Right now we have 20. Well, by this
Wow.
summer we'll have 28 owned aircraft, but we also manage some aircraft, so that's another 5 to 6 depending. So over 30 aircraft within our fleet.
Are they mainly housed in Witham?
No, they're split. So they're split between the 3 regions depending on the time of the year. So right now we have a good We have about 13 or so in the Caribbean. It's obviously high season where, we all want to be in the sun and down in the Caribbean. We have 8 currently in 8 of our owned aircraft in Florida, about based in Stewart, and then the rest are still up in the Northeast.
Could you, I don't know if this is, you can do this or not. Can you share what a flight would cost from, say, to Nassau?
Yeah, so from here to Nassau, so inclusive of taxes and fees and everything, it'll probably run anywhere between 350 to 450, depending on loads, right? So if it's a super busy spring break week or something, it'll be at the higher end, but really around that 350 to 450 range.
Is that round trip? Or
No,
what-
that's each
with one way?
Yes.
So if I were to budget, if I wanted to budget a flight, I'd budget $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the beauty of it is you're saving time.
Oh, there's
You're
no
saving
question.
a 2-hour drive to the airport, the extra hour and a half to 2 hours in the airport. And then if you've
Parking.
gone, right, exactly. And if you've gone through customs in Nassau,
Oh,
there's
I
another
have.
hour and a half. If you're getting there at the same time as the rest of the bigger airlines. So what we
You know-
have, it's door to door from Stewart to Nassau. You're looking at an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow. I love the Bahamas, and I love the Bahamian people. They're sweet people,
They're amazing.
but they're backwards. I don't know whether they're in my mind, people I deal with. I don't know whether they're fighting progress. They don't want to go there, or it's just, and their mindset is, hey, there's no rush, you know.
It depends. So we work very close with obviously the Ministry of Tourism boards, the Bahamian Out Island boards, where we work really close with this group. And for a lot of these out islands, especially, right? So that's the Abacos, Andros, Eleuthera. Their biggest opportunity at these locations is what they refer to as heads and beds, right?
Sure,
So
yeah.
their biggest partners are the airlines, because they can't get there. You don't have anyone sleeping in the hotels and the resorts and the villas. Then I think what they are trying to work with the ministry is, okay, how do you combat that with the cruise lines, right? Because your airline taxes and fees are exorbitant, where the cruises is almost zero. The cruises is very inexpensive.
They are
But-
really very inexpensive.
But your
They need
average
to come down.
spend per tourist, right, when they're staying on island, so if they're overnighting, right, is upwards of $400 a day,
Wow.
right? Where your cruise ship passenger is $12,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
your reinvestment into the islands is exponential, right? When you can start really partnering with the airlines and getting people to explore the beauty of the Bahamas, because it really is. I mean, the Bahamas is incredible.
Oh, I
It
love
really
it.
is.
The water, everything. I like there's nothing I don't like.
No, and I think what's also really cool is each island is very different. There's a little bit of a different culture and vibe at every single location,
Yeah,
every archipelago.
sure.
And I think getting the opportunity to explore those islands and seeing, what type of fishing you like, because whatever type of fishing you enjoy or snorkeling you enjoy really will depend on what island you tackle.
Mhm. And my main reason for going is for golf
Mm-hmm.
and for gambling.
Right.
And now on West End, they still haven't reopened that casino, right? I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get, how could they not open that casino? I don't understand.
And I think the out islands, there's a few of them that are looking at the casino options, but obviously Nassau is your
Right.
your home base for that. And the new locations that are popping up. So we have a really wonderful partnership with the Rosewood at Baha Mar. So that's maybe 15-minute drive from the airport. You can basically see it when you're coming in. Beautiful property. Obviously, we work with a Cove, which is one of the Atlantis properties that's over there, and Lyford Key and the Albany. So really beautiful locations. The golf is incredible. I have a slight bias to the golf course at the Abaco Club. It's the #1 course in the Bahamas. It really is a stunning piece of land, and they just keep it absolutely pristine.
Well, the golf courses we used to play on the West End were horrible.
It's more about the views. It's
Yeah,
more about the views in the
but we
ocean.
weren't, we used to have a group of between 25 and 30 guys, and would would fly over or get a charter or whatever, um, and we nobody really went for the beauty of the golf course.
Right, exactly.
We were
It's a
going
weekend
out.
escape.
You're going, yeah, yeah, exactly. It was an escape. It was, and the biggest attraction for us was the casino.
Yeah.
You know, um, but I love it. I could, I don't know if I would live there 12 months a year, but I wouldn't have a problem living there part of the year.
Oh, well,
You know,
big time.
I don't know if I could handle 12
Yeah.
hours, because things are still, in my view, are still a little backwards.
It is.
It's
It is
not-
tricky. You
it's-
have to be you have to be a bit of a pioneer. You have to be able to fix your plumbing.
You have to be patient.
You have to be patient. You have to understand that the lights might go out for a couple days, and
And they don't get upset.
no,
They just they just take things as they go. You know,
That's
I
right.
love their attitude.
yeah, no, it really is an amazing island, amazing culture. But speaking of the golf trips, what's one of the things we do a lot, right? Both in the Northeast in the summer, down in the Caribbean, we do a lot of the golf trips out to um, the Teeth of the Dog in La Romana in Dominican Republic. There's Cabot, right? Cabot out in St. Lucia, and also the Cabot property up in Central Florida, so a bit north of here, and out to the Bahamas, right? I was at the airport the other day, and we were flying 8 guys over. They put their golf bags in, and they took off. And then it's a blast. It makes it easy. They're not wasting time. They're not having to check in all this stuff. Especially with
yeah.
a group of gentlemen that's, they don't care what they're wearing. They pack a book bag, and they're more worried about their golf
Yeah,
clubs.
I love it when they pack your stuff is all on a cart. You don't have to worry about customs. You go right through.
Right,
It's great.
exactly.
The first time, this has been many years ago, we had a charter out of Witham, and I'm going to say it was probably in the late 80s, early 90s, and my wife worked for Pan Am,
Mm-hmm.
and she was used to planes, these big planes. So she takes us to the airport and with them, almost out to the runway,
Right.
and they're putting our suitcases in the wings.
Oh,
Her eyes were like this. She said, "Are you really going to get on that thing?" And it was hard.
you're like,
getting
I got a tea time. I got to go.
But it was so funny. She wasn't a stewardess. She worked in public relations, but she flew all over the world,
Right.
and she wouldn't get in one of those little planes.
Right, and I think that's where Tradewind really comes in, right? It's like all aviation companies should have and say is that safety is our number one priority, but it's truly part of our core ethos. The PC-12 is a fantastic aircraft, right? It's a turbine prop, so it's put the same inner workings.
Turboprops are great.
Right, and with the turbine engine, it's the same inner workings as a jet,
Mhm.
right? It just we have instead of rocket power, basically, we're using a prop. So it's a very powerful engine, and because of that, right, we can climb high. It's a pressurized cabin. It has AC, which when in Florida summers, Florida winters, right, you need AC for even if it's an hour flight. So it's very, very comfortable. And then one of the things too is even though the PC-12 is a single pilot certified aircraft, we will never fly single pilot. We are a 2 qualified pilot operation 100% of the time. And our crew members they're fantastic. They go through, I just was chatting with some of them today who they were in Indoc, right? They were being hired 3 months ago. And today's their first day even touring the FBO. So they go through some rigorous training before they even set foot at the airport. And then they'll start training, right? So they go through the simulators, they go through different IOE, but today they're starting, initial.
How many passengers do they carry?
8.
Oh, I thought they carried more than that. 8?
Yeah, 8 passengers. on the charter fleet as well as on the scheduled fleet.
And if, so, I don't know if I asked you this, if I don't mean to be redundant. A charter flight from Stewart, say to West End, do you go into West End?
Which part is West End?
I can't remember the name of the town. It's only 80 miles from our shoreline.
Not Bimini. Is it Bimini?
No, not Bimini.
Then it's probably up north. It's probably closer to Grand Bahama.
Grand Bahama.
Yes, we do go to, yeah, we're in Grand Bahama probably every other day.
Okay.
Yeah, we fly right in. And also with the PC-12, we have, because of the capabilities, we can get into much smaller airports and runways. So as long as there's customs, right, we still have to clear customs when you're arriving into an international area. But that's one of the things that they are investing in the Bahamas and all of the airports around the out islands. So they, the aviation board over there, they've invested a lot of dollars in the last 3 years to really bring up the quality of the airports that are there. But we can get into these smaller airports. So if there is no customs, at an airport that's right where you're going, it's not really a problem. We can just clear customs somewhere else in the Bahamas and then continue the flight journey right on.
So they have custom offices you could go to if you landed. In other words, if the airport didn't have a customs place, they have an office or something you could go into. For customs?
We would stop over at a different airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
you
we'd
would
stop
go,
on the way and then
okay.
come over.
I got you.
Hmm.
Okay. So typically, what would a charter cost, say, from Stewart to Nassau?
Stewart to Nassau, since Nassau's a bit further south, I would say you're looking at probably $6,500 for the charter.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And that's 8 seats.
And that's 8 seats.
Wow, that's not.
Yeah, and that's me rounding up because I don't want somebody to come on and get upset that I sold them the one number and it's not. Yeah. But our team we do a lot with the market pricing, right? So it's very, very intuitive. So if it's a very, very high demand season, we have to put some level of premium pricing on there. And a lot of that too, because the airports will start charging more money when it's busy. But if it's, if it's slower period, right, we do get aggressive on pricing. Because like I was talking about earlier, nothing's more expensive than the plane on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of that cost really goes to covering the fees, and then obviously, as most of our clients know, you're really paying for that time, right? You're paying for that experience.
So if I want to go over this again, because if this is probably I'm only telling you this because of whether it's season or not. I think the session next year is in March in Tallahassee. So if I wanted to have a round trip flight with 8 people,
Mm-hmm.
so what would my total cost be on it?
You're looking at around 14,000 because the flight to
14,000.
Tallahassee from here is about an hour and 40 minutes. And so our average pricing, think of it at about $5,500 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're only paying for when you're flying. So if our plane's in Miami, you're not paying for that plane to come pick you up. You're just paying for
When we're on the plane.
when you're on the plane. Exactly right.
Now, on a 3-day trip, what would your pilot keep the plane in Tallahassee and stay there, or would he fly back?
Depends. If we have if we have trips that we need to pick up in Jacksonville and whatnot, right? That plane will keep moving, but then it'll be back in Tallahassee to come get you.
I'll have to talk to some people about doing that next year. That sounds very interesting.
And it's just a absolute time savings. We talked to one group where they rented a bus and
it's 10 hours.
Yeah.
It's 10 hours. There's no
Mhm.
question about it. I know. We were talking about the size of the state. I'll never forget the first time driving to Florida and cross the state line. Oh, we're in Florida. I didn't know.
5 hours later. Yes.
Yeah, right. Or 8 hours,
Yeah.
depending on where you're going.
Yeah, if you're doing an East Coast road trip,
Oh my
the
God.
worst part is
And
getting out of
The
Florida.
roads are a lot better today too, but it still has a lot of miles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jim, we're winding down. Is there anything that you'd like to our viewers to know that we haven't discussed?
You know, we are very grateful that we were able to find this pocket in Stewart. So when we initially launched the scheduled service business, we launched that at Palm Beach. And quickly after, right, January of 2024, we shifted everything up to Stewart. Didn't really have a lot of data. We were brand new in the market. And I have to say, the clients, our passengers, vendors, partners have really shown up for Tradewind as a new kid in the block. And I would say the feedback that we get from them has been amazing. They really enjoy the product. They enjoy the savings on the time, and they're telling their friends and colleagues and whatnot
Word of
to
mouth
try
as
the
good as it
service.
gets.
Yes, and I think we are so appreciative of the community here in Stewart and Martin County,
It
and
is a friendly place. It's a great
it's
place.
amazing. And the folks at Witham Field, Andrew, obviously George, they've been great to work with.
George Stokes is one of my favorite people in the world.
George is an absolute character, but because of his bias towards aviation, based on
He
his
loves it.
he's been such an advocate and such a supporter of us since the get-go, and I think that's really, that's been a big motivator. We started down here with 3 planes. Now we're up to 8 this season, and so it's been fantastic. Yeah, we're really excited to see, what the next 10 years looks like for us.
So many people especially Martin County, never mind the Treasure Coast, don't realize the revenue that what comes out of Witham Field. They have no idea, clueless.
Mm-hmm.
And so George, George reports. He's on our board, and he gets to do a little bit report. And one of the things he always reports is a number of gallons of aviation fuel, and that's a good, I guess, a yardstick on measuring how well the airport's doing. And of course, he loves it when Trump's in town.
Oh, it's you see those numbers skyrocket.
The planes are stacked up. So yeah, it's great. But George could be he could be a stand-up comedian.
Oh, he could. He'd be fantastic. I'd go to every show.
Yeah.
Front row seat.
He's great.
But yeah, no, it's been really, really wonderful being in Stewart and seeing, if you asked any of our team members 2 years ago, is it going to work out of Stewart? It was a guess.
Yeah.
And it outperformed the Palm Beach market for us big time.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really great. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah,
spending
we look
time
forward
come
to
up
having
here,
you on board.
especially from Lauderdale. That's
Yes.
quite a hike.
It was good,
I
though.
appreciate
It was good. It was good to get up to our hangar space and see the team. So
Yeah, great.
always a
Thank
pleasure.
you.